Hi, I'm Beverly. Welcome to Your Personal Economy. It's supposed to be the season of joy, but if you're feeling stressed during this holiday season, you are not alone. Last year, the American Psychological Association did a survey and they asked Americans if they were stressed during the holiday season. Well, 89% said yes. And the top reasons included worrying about money, dealing with family members, and finding the time to get it all done. I'm going to tackle each one of these issues and show you how I have solved them in the past and how you can now just say no to stress. In the survey I mentioned earlier, 58% of Americans said that money was their biggest worry during the holiday season. It was either that they spent too much money during the holidays or they just didn't have enough money to do whatever it is they wanted to do or get the gifts they wanted to buy. And it can be so stressful worrying about money. I do understand that. And I will tell you, the key to saving money during the holidays is to let go of the fantasy of holiday perfection. When I finally stopped insisting everything was perfect and that I had to just do this and that to make it perfect, my holidays got less stressful and I spent less money. Now, one of the things you can do to save on food and alcohol, and this is really important whether you're the person hosting at your home or you're going to someone else's house. You can always do a potluck where the host provides the entree and then each of you bring side dishes or dessert or an appetizer. And that really cuts back on the cost. And another way I save money is that I don't serve alcohol during the holidays when I entertain. And the reason I don't is because it got so expensive. And my husband and I don't drink. We stopped several years ago. And I don't mind if anybody else drinks, though, but I don't really want to pay for it. And so I'm very open about that. I don't have to be the perfect hostess. I encourage people to bring their own, drinks, whether it's beer or wine or their favorite soda. And I've never had pushback on this. I've actually been told it's a great idea, and other family members have started doing that. So there you go. You can save a whole lot of money just by being honest and refusing to pay for things that you really shouldn't have to pay for. Okay. So think a little bit outside the box. I had a neighbor in my old neighborhood who had three uncles, and they would come over to her house every Christmas Eve and get plastered so bad that they would call them the drunkles. And I used to laugh and laugh about that, but I finally got tired of hearing complaints about it. And I said, why don't you not serve alcohol and tell them they can bring their own? And I said, I guarantee you they will drink less because they're paying for it. And there'll be less of a disruption during the holidays because they won't be drinking as much. And she liked that idea and she implemented that and said it was one of their better Christmas Eves. So I did it. I know of another success story, and I'll bet there are many others. So do whatever you need to do to save money when it comes to food and alcohol, because it's all about being together. Okay. The fantasy holiday thing, it doesn't exist, only in the movies. And life is not a Disney movie or a Lifetime movie. So you have to think about what's important to you and focus on that. You don't have to spend a ton of money on decorations. Some you can make yourselves. Or you can decide you're going to go shopping at the sales the day after Christmas. I did that for so many years and saved a lot of money on Christmas decorations. I now have a room full of decorations, but I've been adding to that for decades. So you can have that too. You don't have to have your home completely decorated when you're a young adult and you're just starting out. Just add stuff every single year and it adds up pretty quickly. Another way you can save is to be sure you stick to a budget. And I'm going to include a link to an episode I did called Have Yourself a Debt-Free Christmas. And I explain a budget and an app that I use to help me keep track of how much I'm spending on gifts. It's called Christmas Gift List. So I will drop that in the comments for anybody that wants to check that out. But another thing you can do is Secret Santa for the adults. And you might have a family member that is going to be so grateful, or a friend who's going to be so grateful that you've decided to do Secret Santa instead of everybody spending hundreds of dollars on gifts for their second cousins. All right. So think outside of the box and you will save money. And I promise you, it will decrease your stress. Next, family issues. This is a very big one. And there's actually a lot of overlap between all of these issues, and you'll see what I mean. And I've got some tips to help you stay calm and serene no matter what that crazy aunt is doing. I think it's a universal law that every family must have at least a couple of narcissists. And if you don't have a narcissist in your family, well, congratulations. That is a blessing. Or sometimes you just have a family member that is just kind of annoying. Maybe this person complains all the time, or maybe they're just nitpicky and manipulative, whatever. Here's what you can say. All right. When somebody really is pushing your buttons, and remember, families are good at pushing buttons because they installed them. So when this happens with somebody, just say, oh, bless your heart. Now, that's a Southern expression, and it actually means you're a bitch. But it gives you a way to say that without actually saying that, okay? It makes you sound empathetic, all right? It allows you to say something that's passive-aggressive, sure, but it makes you feel a tiny bit better that you were able to say that. Another thing you could do, and I used to do this all the time. I had one family member in particular, will not name. Okay. This person actually is no longer with us. But every time this person would start to really get on my nerves, I would take a mental health hour. I would say, oh, wow, I really just need to go for a walk or just run out for some coffee, walk my dog, read a book, just take an hour to just chill. And I would come back just rejuvenated from that. Because, stress, holiday stress with family members, it reaches like new heights. Okay. And it's worse if they're staying with you. And even if everybody loves each other, it can be difficult because you're not used to living together. Just try to focus on the good things about each person and get them involved in activities so that people aren't getting bored and getting whiny. Just try to make them feel that they're important to you. It goes back to avoiding the perfect fantasy of the holiday. Families are not perfect. Nobody has perfect families. And you can accept that and learn to cope with that and feel less stress so that you can actually enjoy individuals and be there for your kids. Next, I'm going to talk about time stress. During the holidays, especially if you've got kids, but even if you don't, you probably have a lot of activities with friends or just with other couples. It's important that you don't take on too much. And I can remember I would take on so many things, not only cooking entire meals for large groups of people, but planning events to go to back to back. It was like I was forever in pursuit of that type of holiday I saw on TV, but it wasn't making me happy, that's for sure. So I'll tell you about how I pulled back. Having too much to do during the holiday season is one of the biggest stressors of all. I know because I used to overschedule myself and my family during the holidays. I did this for years and it did nothing but stress all of us out. Okay. And one year I decided to take back my time. So I decided to focus on priorities, spending most of my time in areas that brought me and my family the most joy. And so the first thing was decorating. I really enjoy doing that. During the holidays and in my house, I will decorate anything that doesn't move. I go way beyond the tree and the mantle. I'll put lights on silk trees around cabinets. But my goal is to make it just a really special environment. My daughter lives in North Carolina and she can't get here for the holidays until early January this year. And she said, please keep the decorations up until I get there. And that made me feel so good. And she said she never realized how magical it was to grow up in that house with all of the lights. And she said it was like a winter wonderland. That made me feel so good. And so I said, sure, I will. And so I spend a lot of time on that. And I do spend time on food, but not a whole lot because I want to spend time with my family. I used to spend way too much time cooking this fabulous entree in the kitchen while everybody else was having fun in the family room. I stopped doing that. Another thing I stopped doing was saying yes to everything. No is a complete sentence. Set boundaries. You have the power to create your own holiday season, and you should spend your time the way you want to and the way that you think your family wants to. So set your boundaries ahead of the season. If you know something's going to come up, prepare yourself to say no without any guilt. Like I said, you have the power to do that. Another way to maintain low stress levels during the holidays and take back a little bit of your time for yourself is to exercise, whatever it is that you do, whether it's yoga, running, walking outside, working out at a gym. Take time for that. Put it on your schedule. It's really important. That will keep you happy and it will keep you feeling a whole lot less stressed. So be sure that you do that. And if you don't have time, let's say something's in the oven or a 2-year-old is having a meltdown, breathe. Years ago, I had media training and they taught us how to breathe. When you're doing media and you're going to be on live TV, it can be very stressful. So I learned to take breaths, to inhale 4 counts, hold it for 7 counts, and then exhale fully for 8 counts. You will be amazed how that will change the way you feel, both mentally and physically. And when you have lower stress levels and you have more time to spend with your family, you are going to enjoy the holidays so much more, and your family will too. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Your Personal Economy. We talked about how to beat holiday stress this year. I hope you heard some interesting tips that's going to help you get through the holiday season with a lot more serenity and joy. If you've got some tips you'd like to share, please leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Or if there's something you're dealing with that you would like some help with, that's stressing you out and you need some ideas to get past it, please leave a comment. I always respond. And if you're enjoying my podcast, please subscribe right here on YouTube. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.